Hello everyone, welcome back to the stream, welcome back to another video, and welcome back to another part working on this guy right here. That is the F-15E Strike Eagle by G.W.H, Great Wall Hobbies. And of course we are turning it into an ROKAF F-15K, South Korean fighter, otherwise known as a Slam Eagle. And so yeah, that's what we're doing. I believe this is part 6. We're still working on it. So let's get started, shall we? So we got our two halves of the fuselage together last time, and then I put on the little tiny PE part that goes on each side on the top of the fuselage. Very straightforward, very simple. Thank you, Philippe, for the awesome comment you left on my last video. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And like I've said before in my videos, if I can help somebody with some idea, some technique that they never thought of, then my work is done. That's why I do this. It's just to show people that you don't have to be a professional to get really decent results. When you something that you can be proud of, that looks cool sitting on your shelf or your display case from a couple of feet away, and you didn't have to pay a whole bunch of money to have a professional build it and paint it for you. So, and I show all my techniques, and that's why my videos are a little long, and because I want to show you guys the whole process of assembling these kits and stuff like that. Anyway, enough of that. We finished that off, and so I got the two halves together, and I realized we're going to be basically mating the forward part and the rear part together, so I wanted to get it primed. And so that's what I did yesterday afternoon. Got this thing primed up. Now unfortunately, I'm sorry guys, this thing is now black and you can't see the detail on it in the camera anymore. I painted the inside of the main landing gear bays white like they're supposed to be, and yeah, so we got this primed. And then I realized, you know what, this is a primer I use all the time, the Mr. Surfacer 1500 black, but I ran out. It is empty. Okay? It's empty. I'm sorry about that. So I do have the Mr. Surfacer black. Oh, hello Mega Boy. Hello again. I do have the Mr. Surfacer, what was I saying? I do have the Mr. Surfacer black in this stuff. And I did wind up finishing it off. And now I've realized as I start putting stuff together, I'm going to have to start priming the rest of this stuff in preparation for paint. So that's basically what I'm going to do. But the first thing we're going to do, we're going to put our sections together. This is just going to go like this. It's a good fit. Remember the work I did on this little piece here? And I kind of notched that back. I wanted to make sure that I can put this in and sit it down like this. And well, maybe I didn't have to do that, but I did it anyway. Okay, and then we have this piece, which is going to go in like this, in there. There we go. That sits down nicely. The fit is pretty good. Now I'm curious, just by holding this, can I slide this out? See, I can. I can slide that in and out of there as I want it. So I could technically glue this piece down first if I really wanted to, and then slide that in. Probably because of that little notch I made and the sanding I did to round off the top of this piece right in here. Because I did that, that allows me to put this in at that angle without interfering with the top. So that's probably a good thing. Probably. It would also allow me to get some glue on these little tips in here, where if I have that in here, I can't really do that. So let's glue these together first before we get to painting, okay? I will change the camera when I paint so you can watch me do that. But let's get this glued together first. We've got 4 pins here, and of course these 2 tiny little tips are going to just touch right on the tip there, like that. Then we have our air brake. I am going to have this displayed closed. It's the decision I've made, so that's just going to drop down in there like that. And one thing I don't like about F-15 air brakes is they always, when you look at photos of these planes in real life, you don't notice the air brake sticking up. But it seems like every model kit has that, unless the kit is molded without the option of the air brake being open. So if you have a kit where the air brake is just molded in as part of the fuselage, have a look at that. Is that actually higher? Because every kit where you do that, this thing sits high. And although, let me pull this up here. So it is a pretty good fit. There's no gaps to here. See? This little section right here, which you cannot see now that it's black, this little section right here, it's a little molding that goes like this, comes across like that. This is raised up a little bit and matches the height of the air brake, which makes me think now, is it supposed to be raised up? Now I'm second guessing myself, thinking, oh, they've always done this wrong and I want to shave down the inside to get this thing to flush, make, file down the underside of it to make it a thinner part and make it sit more flush. When you run your finger along here, you don't feel that lip, right? That step. Because it fits flush up here, it's flush. But as you come down, it raises up. So I don't know what's going on with that. I don't know why that is like that. Anyway, I seem to be rambling. So, change my camera for you. You don't need to stare at my face. You can actually watch what I'm doing. And, yeah. So, let's put some glue in here. And we're going to put a couple of little dabs right here and here. Get that glued down. All right. Now, the fitment is really good. It lines up really good there and there. There's no problem at all. So this is a nice fitting piece. You do get 2 of these in the kit, but it calls out for a particular number, and that's what I've put on there. So I'm assuming their mold, for the F-15E, is going to be just a slightly different. Maybe it's got 2 fins. I didn't really look at the difference because honestly, I didn't really care what the difference was. I just wanted to use the one that the kit is calling for. So we'll glue our air brake down. Don't really need to do much in the way of gluing. Just going to make sure that it's glued down good. And there we go. Alright. So now we'll do the nose. So you could basically slather a bunch of glue onto this and call it a day. But after putting a bunch of glue here, I'm going to use my extra thin, and I'll run along that seam. Okay. So let's use a lot of glue here. So I want a good, solid, tight fit. Okay, like that. And now my extra thin. Once again, I have to apologize for the lack of being able to see any detail, because it's now black. And there we have it. Our seam lines are pretty tight. I got no complaints against those. They did a really good job at making sure this thing sits nice. The only thing for me to do is just hold it tight for a minute while the glue sets. And that's about it, really. I do see a little bit of this piece wants to stick out, just this little part right here wants to stick out just a little bit. So I am going to squeeze it tight. Use a little bit of my thin on here. It's not a huge thing, but I want to make sure it's tight. So I want to make sure it's going to fit and it's going to look nice. Sorry if I'm off camera with it and you can't see, but I need to hold it so I can see it while I'm doing this. I'll show you in a sec exactly what I was doing once this is set and it's going to stay put properly. All these, I have a tendency to keep twist ties for some reason. I don't know. I hoard twist ties. So I always think I just might need that someday. I might need that. I could use it to tie something together and hold it. And then I wind up with a collection of them. Okay. Let's see how that's holding. It's holding good. Okay. Yes, it's holding very well. Okay, so I'll point out on the camera now. There was a little bit of a lip. This piece here was just sticking up a little bit, and so this wasn't flush. And so I just put my glue underneath here to glue this down and just held that down just a little bit. And that's all I needed to do. Other than that, it's a perfect fit. Nice, good seam line. You can't really tell it's any bigger other than it's a little bit deeper. So because that's deeper, what I'm going to do, I'm going to let this dry and I will use some of this stuff and I'll run that in there, wipe it away with my finger just to make that line not so deep. Because when I go panel lining later, the panel liner is just going to go running right in there and disappear. So I don't want that to happen. So yeah, okay. So we're going to sit this down. I kind of want to sit it like this. So I'm going to sit this down on the floor here. Actually, I'll put it here where I can sit it upright. Okay, and switch focus now to priming a whole bunch of parts. As you can see here behind me, I've got all the other sprues. I've got a bunch of parts that I need to put some primer down on in preparation for actual color. So I've got all these sprues that they give me, all kinds of things. These are like the weapon pods for the bombs and the bombs themselves, it looks like, or the little rockets. I don't know what they are. More pods, all kinds of things. I want to lay down some primer. These are the landing gear bay doors, the main gear bay doors. I've already got the front ones done, so I got to do these. I've got to do my intakes. Got to get those primed. Yeah, so I got a lot of work to do here. So we're going to be using this stuff. Now, I've literally only used this stuff once. I used it for the very first time yesterday. I mixed it about 50-50 with Mr. Hobby's leveling thinner, and it sprayed very smoothly and very nice. if I dare say, better than the rattle can version of this stuff. Although that stuff I'm much more used to it. So, one thing I did notice, if you guys can let me know in the comments below what I did wrong in spraying it. Because what I found after spraying it down, I laid it down fairly wet, and I don't usually lay down my paints wet. I usually do a few dry coats, right? I don't know why, I prefer to, what do a lot of guys call it? They call it sneaking up on the color, right? Where you do many coats, like 3, 4, 5 coats of it. I prefer to do that. I don't like laying down a wet coat of paint. I don't know, my instincts say, oh, it's gonna run, and I don't want to worry about that. So I prefer to spray light. But this time I knew better. I knew I need to lay it down kind of wet and a little bit thick. So what I found though, after I was done, I let it dry for a few minutes, and then when I picked it up, I had dust on my fingers. So I took a cloth and I wiped it down, and I could wipe down. It was like, even though I laid it down fairly wet, it was like I still had a layer of overspray on it. And so I'm going to see when I get to start painting like the tail fins here, when I paint these, I'm going to see if I get that same problem. I did not like that. I didn't like the fact that even though I laid it down wet, it still acted like I had overspray on it. And so I want to know what I did wrong. These seem to have a lot of little nubs that have to be taken off first. So I want to do that before I actually start painting these. Because if I can just take these off, why not? You know, why not get rid of this stuff first? There's a lot of nubs on here for some reason. Unnecessary nubs. Some of these I'm not even going to use, like that. These are different control surfaces for the main wings, so I don't need these. This is for the actual tail fin. Do you see, like, 2 nubs? Actually, why is this nub here? Why is this nub here? Why are you guys going to all this nubbin' but trouble? See what I did there? Nubbin' but trouble? That looks awful. There's a... Oh, maybe it's not. Just ignore me on what I was about to comment on. Okay, so I don't need those. These are extra pieces that I don't need. And if I do need them, well, I'll find out later. Alright. Whoops. And one more. There we go. Okay. Alright, that looks better. It's a little bit better platform for me to paint on. Okay, we have our elevators. This is kind of already broken off on that particular one, so I might as well get rid of that. Extra nub here. 2 extra nubs on this one. And since the other one's already broken off, I might as well do that with this one. There we go. Okay, so that one's ready. I have these, which I do not need. These are the other intakes where they would be angled downward if you built them. You want me to show you? I could show you what it would look like if you really want. Sure. I heard a yes. Somebody said yes. So just for the sake of completion, if you wanted to see what it would look like, I think this would be the right one. Which one's going to be your counterpart? This one. Okay, I'll show you here. Let's put this together. Now, I gotta clean this up because it won't fit together if I don't, and it'll look really bad. So, I mean, I think these look a little bit ugly. I don't know, I just don't like the look of them when they're down. It doesn't look as cool. I mean, that's my opinion. My 1/32nd scale F-15 by Tamiya, that one, it actually, the way when you put it together, they are actually movable, and you can put them yourself. You can have them displayed up or down, whatever you want. This guy is going to go on here like this, just like on the other ones. You can line it up here. There we go. Okay, that's how that sits. And then this goes on the side here. Okay. I'm not too concerned about getting a bunch of glue everywhere. Because it doesn't really matter. I'm not actually putting this on the kit. Okay. So in similar fashion to the other intakes, we have that, okay? Just like that. But this one's a little bit different, and I'll show you on the overhead, okay? So this one's different in that, I drop it, no. It's different in that it's angled down. You see that angle there? You see how it's angled? From here, it goes, and then suddenly it's down. And this one, of course, is straight. See the difference in those? Right? If I line them up straight, I even do it on my board here. This one's straight along this line. Oh, here, let's turn around. Okay? This one's straight along that line. But this one, if I line it up there, line that up. See that angle downward? Okay? Now that's not straight along there. That's the difference. That's the main difference. And so when you're actually putting it on the plane, if I put this on here like this, I'll do a little test fit here. Okay, so there you go. This one is straight out. Okay? And then we have this one, which we just made, and this should fit. should being the key word. Getting it to sandwich in between may be a challenge here. Of course, it's just glued, and the glue is not fully set yet. That is a tight fit. Indeed. There we go. Just needed to convince it. There we go. And now you see that's definitely not straight. And if we look at it like this, look at that difference. That is a huge difference. Okay, and that's what I mean. I don't like this look. I don't like that angled down look. It's just not my thing. So that's the main thing. So that's why I like this look better. Oh, hey, Vivid. Welcome back. So yeah, I like this straight look a lot better than this angled down look. It's just a preference for me. So that's why I'm not going to be using these. Okay. So let's take those off. Set this back over here. Okay, so like I said, I just wanted to quickly show you guys the actual difference in what this is. This is not going to be used. Yeah, so I'm going to be painting these. And so I need to mix up some of my Mr. Leveling thinner with this stuff. And then I got all these sprues to paint. Actually, I want to take this one off because I got a lot of little nubs that I'm going to want to clean up. I don't want to have to clean up a lot of nubs off of these things before or like later on. So hey, you like the shirt? Thanks. I got this from a guy on YouTube, Growling Sidewinder. He's got a channel on YouTube where he does all these DCS videos, Digital Combat Simulator, where he flies all kinds of different planes and pits them against each other and does all these little different things. And he's pretty entertaining, and it gives you a really good idea of the combat capabilities of different planes against different planes and stuff like that. So I really like this channel. And yeah, I saw he's giving away these shirts. He's got F-14 Tomcats ones, but I prefer the F-22 over the Tomcat. So yeah, I ordered one of these shirts and I liked it. Even though I'm Canadian, I'm not American. I still think it's cool. So yeah, I figured, yeah, I'm gonna buy one of those. It's a nice shirt. So yeah, and you know, the other bonus is I'm a pretty big guy, and well, he makes shirts in my size, so that's also very important too. I just need to clean up a little bit of these. There's no point in priming these and then having to clean up these nubs, so we're going to do that first. Clean up our nubs. That's always par for the course, especially for fitting it on. Okay, so there's all these little pins going along the edge of this. So it's curious, do these pegs, there's these little pegs. And I don't know if I need to cut the pegs off or if I need to, if there's holes for them that I didn't notice. So there's like 1, 2, 3, 4 pegs going along here. Let's take a look at our kit. Which side is this one? Not that side. It's going to go in here. Oh yeah, we've got pegs here. Boom, 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 boom. We got holes for it. So it's going to line up. It looks like it takes the place of where your bombs would go. Sort of. It doesn't line up perfectly. You know, those holes, which has kind of been the thing with this kit. They make the tolerances so tight that it almost snaps together. These rear ones don't want to go in their holes. There we go. See, it just snapped in. just a little bit of convincing, they snapped in. And now I almost don't need glue. It's staying on by itself. Dad found me staying up late again. All right, Vivid. Well, thanks for coming out. Thanks for watching. And thanks for watching me on YouTube. I appreciate that. Okay, so we have this on there, so I need to prime this. I'll prime it separately, but when it comes to actual painting, I will put it on first and paint after, because it's, as I've discovered, if you paint different parts off of the sprues and then you assemble it, you find that you get some different variation, just slightly different tonal variations in your paint without trying. See, now it doesn't even want to come off. Once you got it on, it didn't want to come off. Alright, anyway, so that's that. Let's put this back down over here where it's going to be safe. I'm not going to be knocking it around. Yeah, it even stressed these pegs a little bit. But anyway, I'm just going to clean up that little bit there. And there was this one that needs just a little cleaning. I'm being a little, I don't know, I feel like I'm being a little bit anal with this kit. I'm a little more so than I normally am, I think. And I think it's because I am making this a Korean plane that I'm trying a little harder than normal. Because I do have, I want to do justice to my Korean friends. And yes. You might ask me, well, what's your obsession with Koreans? Why? And I just say, you know, I don't have a definitive answer. You might say, oh, you just have yellow fever. Well, no, I don't. It's not yellow fever. It's just, I fell in love with their culture. And the Koreans I've met have been so friendly and warm-hearted and welcoming to me that I love them. And so I like building their planes and their tanks. The K2 Black Panther, that was a cool tank. And really impressed that it's like number 3 or 4 of the best tanks in the world for modern armor. Okay, I think we are just about ready to finally start spraying some paint down. I'm going to start moving these sprues over here so that I have a better area to paint. So that I'm not getting a whole bunch of overspray. Now again, this is the other side of that sprue. I do not need this. I'm not going to build the other side, so let's just cut this in half so it's not as big in my garbage can. Okay, let's get a little mixing cup. And get my screwdriver. I'm going to start with these pieces. And there's so many sprues. This is like Gundam level sprues on this kit. It's crazy. Gundam level, yeah, like that's a level. Anyway, so I am going to be mixing it with my Mr. color leveling thinner. I'm going to do roughly 50-50. I know I'm going to need quite a bit, especially because it's I've got a lot to do. So let's pour this in here. I'll start with that amount. Okay. And if I need more, well, I'll mix up more. I don't like leaving the goop in the threads. That's a big pet peeve of mine. I like cleaning up the threads. Okay, put that there. Get some thinner. Where's my get a pipette here, and just kind of eyeball it roughly. And if I go more than 50-50, that's all right too. That's thinner than 50-50 is going to be fine. It's not going to hurt it any. All it'll mean is I got to be a little bit more careful in actual spraying it. So I'll just mix it up a bit. The leveling thinner does have a little bit of a retarder in it, so it doesn't dry quite so fast. But of course, that's how it levels it, right? And we're nice and thin. There we go. Alright, I've already got my air compressor fired up. I don't know if you guys have heard it kind of running here and there. Okay, so using my 0.5, fill up the cup about halfway, and let's start spraying. So I'm going to change the camera here so you can watch what I'm doing and have fun. Here we go. Hello. All right, so just as a little preparation, I need to kind of move some stuff, because now things like this is dry enough to the touch, I can move it out of my way. And so I need to kind of start relocating some stuff as I move on to others. So I'm going to take a couple minutes and just move these on. Now, one question you might have for me is, well, why are you doing this now with them all on the sprues when you could just assemble the thing and do it all as one big piece? Well, because doing something like this, like for the example on these tanks, when you put them together, you're going to have a seam line, and you're going to have to fill it and sand it and stuff like that. Having the primer on it already helps to fine-tune your filling and sanding and stuff, to see how you're sanding it off, because when you just have the bare plastic, it's hard to tell. And so that's why I kind of like to do this ahead of time, have it primed at least. Don't have the color on it yet, but it's primed. And that's basically the answer to that question, and why I like having the primer on it. Like, I already know when I put these two halves together, there's going to be a seam line, and I'm going to want to clean that up. And it's easier when I start to sand it and stuff like that, to file away my putty and whatever, to tell just how far down I'm going with my sanding. Because once I get to that layer of the primer, I know where I am in depth of my sanding. So that's why I am really happy with how this has fixed and totally hidden the flaws in the molding that you normally get on your bigger parts, where you get that kind of it's a weird pattern where it's like the plastic settled slightly different, and when they were molding it, and this completely covered it up. I'm really impressed with that. But what I was going to talk about before, let's see if I got that on here. See, I didn't get that like I did. I don't have the dust layer like overspray like I had when I sprayed the fuselage. So I don't know what I did wrong. I clearly was doing something wrong when I sprayed the fuselage. Okay, so now these are done. I need to reposition this so that I can spray this. So I'll just put it on the inside like that. And in theory, that'll hold it good. Okay, so I've made some more room on my desk, on my table here. So let's get back to it. Where are we here? There we go. Hello again. All right, so So I need to mix some more. Because I just ran out and I still have more to do. Although I am almost done, so I don't need nearly as much. So I'll just put a little bit more into the cup, and it should be enough. Maybe enough to fill half the cup on the airbrush. That should be good there. Like I said, there's not a lot more to do, but just a little bit. So that, and thinner. Where'd my pipette go? There it is. Again, I want to do about 50-50. That should be enough. Up a little bit. Should be good. Okay. Yeah, it's about half a cup. More than I need, I believe. Probably a lot more than I need, but I'd rather have more than not have enough, right? Let's go back. I have these guys. These guys need to be primed. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take these off here. So it only needed to be held on minimally. One. That is that. And that's that. Done. And that's it. We're all done. Now, one last thing I wanted to do is I assembled the kit kit exhaust. So I just want to touch this up while I've got paint in the cup. I've done now all the parts. There are no more other than, actually no, that's all. I've done them all. For some reason I thought I had bombs. Maybe I'm thinking of the Academy kit. Has bombs in it maybe. I thought I had bombs and not just missiles. But hey, that just means less to build, right? So I do have a lot left in the cup, but that's okay. I don't need it. That's going to be it. So yeah, thanks for the painstakingly long video of me airbrushing. As I now have to head out. So move these back over here so off my desk. Let's take a look at what's not going to be going on next time. We've got our fuselage together. That's this guy right here. He's together now. We're going to put our intakes on. These guys are going to go on. It's going to be next time. Next time is the intakes. Oh, next time we're going to be cleaning up the canopy glass, right? The canopy glass has this nice little mold line right through the center of it. And so I've already taken my very nice sharp X-Acto knife and kind of scraped it down like this. You can hear it. Yeah, fun sound. Scrape that little ridge off of there and made that flush. So now there's no longer a little piece sticking up in the middle there, all along that side. You might be able to see a little bit better on this camera here, or I guess technically this camera. Right there, you can see that in the middle where I scraped it. So next episode is going to be cleaning that up. You're going to get to see how I do that. It's not that difficult. I used to think it was going to be something super hard to do, but in the 2 or 3 times that I've done it, I found it's actually not that hard to do. So it just takes a little bit of patience and a little bit of elbow grease, and that's about it. So this is where I'm going to end it here for today, guys. And I want to thank you for watching. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for the chat. Thank you for the comments on my videos. It's really awesome. You guys are really awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the positive feedback I get on my videos. Just really, it's incredible. And thank you so much. So speaking of that, hit that like button down below. Go in the description box and check out my links there I've got for my Instagram, and check out all the still pictures that I put up of everything that I've built in the past. I do that every time. Every time I finish a build, I take a few pictures and I put it on my Instagram. And yeah, and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. I know over 80% of you that watch my videos are not subscribed. So just hit that subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything. Just do it. Just do it. Yeah, anyway. Thanks again for watching. Thanks for coming out. And we'll see you on the next one.